Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing Faouzia performing Tears of Gold live. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together and take the next step in their creative journeys. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so there are no ads, and they're always launching new classes so that you can stay focused and follow your creativity wherever it takes you. They have a ton of classes, including ones on illustration, music production, web design, marketing, you name it, they probably have a course for you. One class that looks really interesting to me is Stick to It: How to Maintain a Creative Practice by Amaryllis Henderson. I love learning about other creatives' process. I think there's so much we can learn from that across mediums. And I love that in the description it talks about how you can craft your challenge or goal to suit you best for the long haul and what makes a goal stick. Because the most important thing in terms of getting better at something is making goals and spending time working toward those goals. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in my description below will get a free trial of a premium membership so that you can explore your creativity. Thanks again to Skillshare for your continued support of the channel and for just greater support of learning in general. She's really clean so far. You can tell that she's got a lot of agility just from how she does that da 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 da. It was very, very clean.
Mama always told me that I was too naive, gave away my trust for pennies. I said, don't you worry, didn't think that I'd be broken down and crying. Help me, wrecked, check, hard, in debt. All you do is come around, just came here to collect.
I love how live it sounds. I mean, that's a big thing for me when watching these videos, is I like to hear what an actual voice sounds like. You hear little artifacts from how she's moving the microphone and stuff that make it just sound like a live take. She's got a really lovely tone to her voice where it's not super bright. It's actually a quite dark tone. It's the ba-da ba-da, closer to that compared to like a really bright ba-da ba-da. And I think that sounds really lovely. And you can hear that tone being maintained throughout whole phrases, regardless of what note she goes to, regardless of what vowel she's singing on. There's something that kind of unifies the whole thing and makes it sound like one voice. And I think that that's the number one goal that I have as a voice teacher for my students, is to try to get them to have that kind of uniformity to their voice. Because when you do that, then nothing becomes unexpected and everything then becomes a choice. And when you're performing, we want everything to be a choice so that it's the best way to perform, the best way to tell a story, rather than, well, I have to sing this note this way because it's the only way I can sing it. Starting from a place that is so even like that, you can really tell a fantastic story.
Check, hard, in debt. Don't you know that I cried tears of gold for you? I sit here blind for you, collect my pennies and my dimes. That's why you love it when I cry.
Interesting. So as soon as she gets into this chorus bit, she changes that. Like, she doesn't use that same dark tone. I would love to hear a little bit more of that dark tone on this middle part, just because I think it would sound really cool. But you hear her brighten it up a little bit. It's a pop thing to ask for that kind of brighter sound. I think it sounds good. It also, by going for that brightness, it's putting her larynx in a place that's just a little bit higher than the way that she did the first verse. And that's making it easier to go do that really stylistic flippy thing that she's doing.
That normal love for you, I'd give her no lies for you.
You can hear there is a tonal difference between the B flat and the C sharp, where that's because the C sharp is over a bridge and she's not pulling up. Like, if she was pulling up that sound that was working well for the B flat to the C sharp, it wouldn't work. And because there's that slight tonal difference, they actually sound more similar than if she did try to pull up the B flat to make it work on the C sharp. So, on that top note, there's just this extra brightness. And obviously I am a totally different voice type than Faouzia is, but you can still hear how there's a slight tonal shift. There's a timbral change when she goes between those two places. And so we need to find where those shifts happen so that they're not unexpected. And a lot of like voice training is just figuring out where those places are and figuring out what kind of vowel modifications will help us move through those places smoother, and what kind of approach will allow you to move through that and have it sound fairly uniform, so it doesn't sound like a totally different voice up at the top. I thought that she sounded lovely right there. That was a really, really good sound.
Generosity's my enemy, so I'm broken in your heart's reach.
Yeah, and then she pulls that head voice place down for the flip. So really interesting sound going back and forth between flip and not flip.
Because of me.
Then it darkens again.
I know that this is my fault. Gave a little too much. Knew that this was gonna happen, but I'm not gonna lie. You can make
Her vibrato is interesting to me because you can tell a lot about a voice by what their vibrato defaults to, and hers doesn't sound like the traditional vibrato that we look for in Western, contemporary, and classical voice training. It just sounds a little bit different, which is why people like it, I bet, just because it's interesting and it's consistent, and it doesn't sound like that big, oh! It's a little bit tremolo-y, but I'm hearing enough other stuff in her voice that makes me think, okay, yeah, the vibrato's got a little bit of funkiness, and that is kind of a diagnostic tool to show maybe there's an inefficiency in how that person is producing sound, but there's enough other good stuff that she's doing that makes me think it doesn't matter. It is really weird, though, to hear that difference. Unusual, uncommon, which are all like things that give her the character of her voice that makes people love her voice, because people seem to really love her voice, and I don't blame them. She's got a gorgeous instrument.
Make me cry 1,000 times, I'll come running back. Like, what is going on with my head? Wrecked, check, heart in dead. All you do is come around, came here to collect.
So did you hear how she went to that she had it in that same kind of place that she has the bottom of her range, which makes it sound more similar. So if she kept that same sort of posture when she went over to the chorus, I'd be curious to see what happens. Like if she just asks for that slightly more depth sound, warm sound, whatever.
Check, heart in dead. Don't you know that I cried tears of gold for you?
So in order for that to happen, what I was just saying, instead of going to of gold, gold, of gold, of gold, going closer to that place, that round and down place, and it becomes a question of which sound do you like more, and that one probably would win. I just want to prove that she can do it both ways. And she totally can.
For you, collect my pennies and my dimes. That's why you love it when I cry. Platinum love for you, I'd give no less for you.
I do think that the vibrato helps her with this agility and with her runs, because there's something kind of similar going through a quick run and letting the vibrato happen, and I think that hers is assisting it.
Generosity's my enemy, so I'm broken in your heart's rich because of me.
She had to breathe so many times on that because it was a very breathy sound, which, of course. So if you ever are having trouble getting through a phrase because you're running out of breath, you have to ask yourself two questions. Are you using too breathy of a tone, or are you not getting enough air in on your inhale? With her, it's like she's just using a really breathy tone, and it works. But she's using all of her breath on 3 notes, and so she wouldn't be able to maintain that thing. But a lot of people get that sound as their default, and so we're trying to like make their default sound closer to what she's doing the rest of her voice with, because that'll actually let you sing full phrases. So if you are someone who runs out of breath, Just like, stop. Just stop running out of breath. Just to ask for a slightly less breathy sound and see if that starts making it easier to get through full phrases.
And the worst part is I do it all over again. No, the worst part is I know it's never gonna end. I keep coming right back like a maniac. I keep coming right back like, whoa. And the worst part is I do it all over again. No, the worst part is I know it's never gonna end. I keep coming right back like a maniac. I cried tears of gold, collecting my dimes, laughing when I cry. Love for you, I'd give no lies for you, general.
So the C sharp is kind of in the same room as how she sang that F, the really high note that she went up to. And if she tried to sing those two notes like she sings the B flat, it wouldn't work. But she doesn't try to make them sound the same. She doesn't try to make them feel the same. She lets them just be their own thing, these own individual sounds. And there are differences in how the C sharp sounds and the F sounds. I mean, specifically in the pitch, and the tone changes just a little bit more, but like they're still more similar. She's really good. She's really, 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 really good. And she's 20. Yeah, she's gonna have a really good career, a really long career, because she's not doing anything with her voice that's like, oh man, you're gonna lose your voice in 5 years if you sing like this. It's all really healthy singing, and the flexibility that she gets in her voice allows her to get all of these different colors. Like, I know at the beginning I said that there's this goal in voice training to get kind of a uniform sound so that it sounds like the same instrument, and because that generally becomes a little easier to sing. But she has about 6 available uniform sounds that she can go for whenever she wants to, at least that I've heard so far. And I bet that she'd be able to ask for that sound all the way through her range. So if I was working with someone like this, as a voice teacher, my goal would be just to make sure that all of it is a choice, and that we are relaxing through it as much as you can. And I would bet that like everything she does is a choice. She sounds really, really good. Like it's pretty rare to have someone's voice this technically together, especially at her age.
City's my enemy, so I'm broke. Check hard and dead. All you do is come around, just came here to collect. Wrecked, check hard and dead. Don't you know that I cried?
Cool. She's really, really good. Like, if you have a vocal model, you could do way worse than modeling after Faouzia in terms of just the sounds that she's choosing, the way she's approaching singing. It's a very holistic, healthy way of singing. From the musical side of things, I think it's a fun song. I love all of the kind of style switching. I assume that in the fully produced version, it's got a little bit more of a beat going to it and stuff, just with how she delivers that that whole section. And I really like how that sounds when it comes stripped down into just a piano accompanying it, because instead of all of these other instruments kind of carrying the main load for kind of making it a banger, she's responsible for all of that, and I think that she does it really well. And then she goes between that and the really big soaring belty kind of stuff. Would you call that a belt? I kind of would, just because it sounds really high and loud, and for me that's the biggest definition of a belt. That word is losing a lot of meaning with a lot of people, but yeah, she sounds great, super sustainable, cool music. Gonna be a real good time watching her make more music. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, go check out the links in the description, and go follow me on Twitter. Yeah, go do that one. Thank you.